Sup, Ryu here for the Council Network with the season finale of The Flash, the race of his life episode review and discussion and breakdown and just like everything in one video because it's going to be freaking nuts. We have so much to cover. I don't even know where to start. We'll probably start with Zoom. So Barry took care of Zoom. That's pretty much what we expected. But, however, I think there's a twist on that we're not looking at if we just say that. Barry got time remnants to actually help him out, just like, we've been seeing for the past couple of episodes with Zoom. And with Zoom, he's got taken away by time rates, which obviously also played a role in this episode and a few episodes ago. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I believe Zoom just became the Black Racer, which is basically the Speedster's version of death, because we got the explanation of the Speed Force. Obviously, that's going to be coming in. I also like how they kill Barry's dad and bring the man in the Iron Mask, of course, is Jay motherfucking Garrett, but from Earth 3, good twist, and he looks just like Barry's dad. I was kind of hoping we get a little more dialogue. I know it was closing off between Barry and Jay Garrick, the real Jay Garrett, which you stand up. Here's my thing, though. And there's a lot to go over here, and especially those last, 5 minutes of the episode. But the one major thing I'm going to have to touch upon, ASAP, is because of what Barry did, and of course, that they got Jay Garrett out of there. This means that our man, I think it's our man, the guy who, Rex Tyler, who appeared in the Legends of Tomorrow finale last week, obviously is from Earth 3, but somehow that crosses over to later in the thing. There's so much to talk about because pretty much they did the comic book thing, and the comic book thing is called Flashpoint Paradox. You can actually watch it on Netflix. There's a few characters that I don't believe we're going to see in Season 3, so I wish we would. It would be amazing if DC would allow it, but I just don't see it happening because that's going to require Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Cyborg, and just half the Justice League and Aquaman. Very important, Aquaman. Very important. I think we're going to get some sort of version of that played out in the next couple of episodes, and goddamn, if Arrow doesn't, if Arrow tomorrow night, because I'm probably going to try to get this out tonight, if Arrow tomorrow night does not connect into the Flash, I swear it is going to make 0 sense. It's going to make 0 absolute sense. Even if it's the last 5 minutes of the episode, it just has to. Barry decides that he's not happy with everything. He's overwhelmed by grief. And you could see it, I know some people are like, why would he do that when his future self told him not to go back and save his mom, and he just went back and he saved his goddamn mom? And does that mean Season 1 and Season 2 of Flash is taken out of context and, erased? Does this mean that that vibe won't be a thing no more? Does this mean that, there's so many, but we're missing one final piece of the puzzle, which is Arrow, but I'm going to try to give my points on it. I think Season 3 is going to be Flashpoint Paradox to some degree. Not completely, but to some degree. I also believe we're going to see another Harrison Wells, a third version. And I don't know about you, but I'm okay with a third version of him because the Earth 2 version left. Say that you can't lock up the darkness. And what do? They locked up the darkness and Barry by putting him in the cage. That logic. The big thing on everyone's mind right now is this going to bring Arrow back into what it originally was during Season 1 and Season 2 and basically erase Season 3 and Season 4? It's kind of hard to say. There's a possibility that they can do that, and this also crosses over to Supergirl with Kara, bring her into the multiverse, basically, instead of being, let's say, she's the S-World, she would be Earth 4, Earth 3, or Earth 2. And it's hilarious that they said Earth 1 is pretty much the center point throughout the multiverse. So there's a lot to digest there. Besides it, it's Zoom's here's my master plan. I want to blow up everything. But pretty much what they did by having Barry go back and save his mom, you bring back characters like Captain Cold, You bring God, I can't remember who else died. Oh, you also bring back Eddie Thawne, which then brings back the Reverse Flash. God, my head hurts just thinking about this and trying to explain it as a whole other level. I mean, it's a fantastic episode what they did, and everything that pretty much the Kevin Smith episode was pretty much set up a lot for this episode. The Speed Force played in perfectly for a big thing, and if you look back, you can watch it online probably by the time I get this review out, if you're on the East Coast anyways. If you go back and you watch it, when the time rates are taking Zoom away, that's me tapping by the way, they take Zoom away, and you could see his face is turning into a skeleton, part of his mask was ripped off, and just makes sense for him to basically be the, quote unquote, I'm the face of death now, because that's pretty much what he's all he's good for. He's pretty much absorbed by the Speed Force. And it would be a hell of a storyline for, the Black Racer. Please, make this happen. And poor Wally. God, Wally, you didn't get Speed this season. You didn't really get the costume. And you didn't get the lady. You poor little bastard. I feel so bad for you. No, in all seriousness. I know there's some people who prefer the Wally West to Barry Allen Flash. I'm more of a Barry Allen Flash personally, especially after watching Flashpoint Paradox and now Flash Season 2 and 1. But, so let's go back on a few things. I'm just knocking shit over now. It doesn't completely erase the timeline, it's going to alter it. So, what they can do is that they can go back and say, Laurel's alive because of explainer, reason. And I know there's going to be some people who are just pissed that, oh, you bring up Laurel coming back because you like Laurel, but you like Felicity. Not my point, but there's so much that they can do to actually alter things, like, hey, we can have a different Deathstroke, or, hey, this character didn't have this interaction with that character, or hell, Tommy could be alive. Wherever they want to do, they could pretty much go back and do, and have whole new stories to tell just from The Flash doing that. And it's kind of crazy because I think that 4-night crossover that we're supposed to be getting is actually going to be, and that'll probably be like the mid-season finale, is probably going to be the resolution to what Barry's doing throughout those first 7 episodes. We'll see it actually play out, because I think that they could probably just do it in an hour and a half and be like, here's 3 episodes of the Flashpoint Paradox, but I think if the writers are as smart as they have been this entire season, I think they will handle it with perfect ways of just handling it. I think it'll be fantastic. That's what I'm trying to say. I think absolutely it'll be fantastic, and the execution will be lovely. Big season 3 villain. I don't think we're even going to get a clue till San Diego Comic-Con. Same with Arrow. I don't think we're going to get any hint about it. And Legends of Tomorrow, that's up in the air to what it could be. What I would hope it would be, because when you have Flashpoint Paradox, another good follow-up story would be Crisis on Infinite Earths, and you could do the Anti-Monitor by setting him up in the crossover, like, hey, you fucked this up, and now I exist because of it. But that's something that I'm not even sure if DC has plans for the movies to actually make use of him, and that's kind of hard, because I would also say there's Darkseid too, but Darkseid's pretty much going to be in the the movie verse, and they're not going to allow CW to touch him. It's just not. But there's a lot to, like, when we talk about Flashpoint now in this continuity. I'm in a reptile room, so if you hear the crickets, as I was saying, in the continuity of the CW verse at this point, that's how I'm going to phrase it. If Supergirl and her version of Superman, Martian Manhunter, are there, and you bring them into the Flash's universe, with the crossover, wherever it may be, with the Flashpoint Paradox, then you have a whole story building thing to say, guess what? This is how our worlds blend. Now we have Superman, and the only ones you're missing is Batman. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Thank you, Fox. And thank you, DC. And the other one would probably be Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Those are probably not going to happen, but you know what? We can use the Justice Society of America and pull some out of there. And God, just there's so much potential what they could do. But let me talk more about just the overall episode as a whole. Way to sell it, Grant Gustin. You made me almost fucking cry up a bit myself watching, Barry's dad just die. It was hard. I'm not gonna lie. That shit hit me in the feels. First Laurel, now Barry's dad. God damn it. And there's another thing I do have to talk about on the Paradox thing. It's going to fuck up Legends of Tomorrow's continuity to some degree, but you could argue because the same way the Reverse Flash came back during this season, that Legends of Tomorrow can follow the same suit. They're protected because they're in the time. They're in the rifts of time. However you want to phrase it, it gets a little timey-wimey. No puns intended. Back to what I want to say, though. The Zoom fight, goddamn. We were just led to believe, hey, I just want to race. No, I want to race and destroy the whole multiverse. So this way you have a reason to pull Supergirl over if you goddamn felt like it. And you know what? I just want to screw with your life even more because I am just pure fucking nuttiness. And I think that's exactly why we're going to see Zoom back, but as the Black Racer now. And here's the thing, going back to where Zoom plays his role. I think what will happen is he won't be erased in the timeline because he's taken in by the time rates to the Speed Force and made into the Black Racer. Kind of how like Mick Rory was taken and made into Kronos. I think that's going to follow the same thing because that whole thing with Kronos could play out the same way. We get Captain Cold back and the Rogues because, hey look, I didn't have to kill this rogue because guess what? Fucking Paradox. Though I do have to say I've been talking more about the last 5 minutes of the episode and how much it's going to alter the future of Flash on CW and the potential where it could go. I must say what a fantastic season finale, and shipping Iris and Barry the way it's done in the comics is a great way to nod it on the show because everything was pretty much done by the book. And I'm not saying we want exactly, obviously it's not exactly the same, but we got pretty much like, here's Barry doing the New 52, and DC this week has Rebirth coming out, so it's kind of like a, haha, tip my hat to you. I also like how Jay Garrett, the real Jay Garrett, not the one that Caitlin and company keep assisting, that is Jay. That's Hunter Zolomon. But anyway, the real Jay Garrett's like, I'm going to take something from him. I'm going to take his hat. I'm going to wear this hat and make it a symbol of, hope. I also like how they use him to pretty much, like, take back... I like how they use the real Jay Garrick to actually bring them back to Earth 2. Kind of sad to see them go, but who knows, with the Flashpoint Paradox, it's limitless what they can do. I'm really interested to see where it goes. One thing I do have to mention, I do have to correct myself from last week that I said Barry's dad's usually alive in the comics. He's really not. Usually he's dead. And pretty much like Barry's, becomes an investigator and everything, CSI, to actually help his dad out, to clear his name, if you would, not like we did in the show. So that was my own fault. I did my research and I feel stupid about it, but what's it gonna do? What I want to close off by saying, because this video's been going on for so long, I am so excited. I hate the wait. The wait's gonna suck. I can wait till tomorrow night to watch Arrow. That I don't really care about. I'm sorry. It's the fucking truth. Because the problem is Arrow has a lot to live up to compared to its compatriots, Legends of Tomorrow and The Flash. This is a fantastic episode. If you have yet to see it, I don't know why you've been listening to this whole freaking spoilery review, and you should just go watch it because there's so much that's going to happen. Now, I probably will start doing what I've been talking about for the longest of time with the council group, is pretty much more anime reviews, and hopefully soon bonus videos to talk about the future of The Flash Season 3 and where it could go after I do my goddamn research, because there's so much still to talk about. And maybe some comic book reviews, because that's something I wanted to throw out there as well, but we haven't had time to. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in as always. If you enjoy the content and you're brand new, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we're going to try, keyword try, to upload every single day something here. But obviously I can't promise that, but at least once a week there'll be something, if not twice. Anyway, I'm Ryu for the Council Network. I've been your host, and thank you for doing the most. I'm going to zap on out of here. They call me the Zap. See you later. Peace.